Andy.
Morning, Andy.
Morning, Roy. Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Got us a rookie, don't we? You did
Very
good.
nicely done.
You did very well. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Pastor Robin Valdez from the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious and merciful God, as the Commissioners' Court of Tarrant County gathers this morning, we ask your blessing on each commissioner, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, kindness, and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote the general welfare of the people, remembering also that they are called to serve the people as encouragers of love and justice. May each of these individuals, as they speak, discuss, and give consideration to the issues before them, have your mind, your heart, and your compassion. We pray also for the people of Tarrant County that as they bring forth concerns, ideas, and insights, they would have a willingness to serve as proactive participants in the creating of a safe, secure, and empowered community within their own neighborhoods and throughout the county. In our dealings with each other, O God, may we always display true charity through Jesus Christ, who has loved us with hope, mercy, and peace. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you for coming out this morning. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have two agenda announcements this morning. The first one is under Facilities Management, Item 8C1. There is a revised court communication in your red folder this morning. It's just a revised letter that's attached to the original court communication. And then also under Human Resources, Item 8D4, this is a TO change as it relates to IT. We're going to ask that we pull that and hold that, and we will bring that back to you at a future date. Then finally, members of the court, just want to remind you that on Monday, this next Monday, the 16th, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have a special call meeting of the Commissioners' Court, and we've already checked your calendars, and we have that on your calendars. The purpose of that meeting is to canvass the votes of the November 3rd election.
What day?
Monday, the 16th.
16th?
Yes,
10
sir.
o'clock?
Yes, sir.
You didn't have that on his calendar.
It's not in my computer yet, but it is now.
Just thank you, GK.
Appreciate it, Your Honor.
Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of November the 3rd.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a proclamation, and we have our employee recognition. Commissioner Brooks, I believe you had a couple of announcements you also wanted to make. Would you like to do that now?
Yes, please. Thank you, Your Honor. Regarding United Way, the Precinct 1 Pancake Breakfast will be held this coming Friday morning, the 13th, a very lucky day.
Friday 13th.
Friday the 13th, a very lucky day. We will start serving pancakes at 7 a.m. Pancakes, eggs, biscuits, sausage, coffee, orange juice, the whole 9 yards. Only $8. And there will be lots of special prizes that you can bid on, that you can win through various means. We hope to see you there this Friday morning, Friday the 13th, your lucky day, at the Southwest Sub Courthouse, 6551 Granbury Road, 7 a.m. The other thing, Your Honor, is a much more serious note, and that is that this community this past week lost one of our most distinguished religious leaders, what Reverend L.B. George used to call a crusader for civic righteousness. Reverend Albert E Chu passed away this past week. He served 57 years as pastor of the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in North Fort Worth, and was a very distinguished community leader and citizen of Tarrant County. I ask that we adjourn court this morning in his memory and in his honor. Thank you.
Certainly. With that, I will, we're going to recognize our veterans today. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. This is Veterans Week. So at this time, before we get to the proclamation, what I'd like to do is ask all of the veterans in the audience to please rise and let us thank you for your service. Judge Carr reminded me as we were coming in that today is the 240th birthday of the Marine Corps. There's a few of them. There's a few of them in here. And so we certainly want to also recognize that and recognize Judge Carr for, I know, every year holding the birthday celebration in his court, usually in his court. So we thank him for doing that and for remembering the service of those in the past. So what I want to do is I'm going to start off with, I believe, Tom, come on down, and I'll read the proclamation, and then we will, you can say any words that you'd like to say at that time. Whereas it is appropriate to salute those tens of thousands of men and women who have served and are serving in America's armed forces, and whereas it is recognized that during the past century, hundreds of thousands of Americans have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and whereas many Tarrant County employees are among the brave men and women who have or are serving in the armed forces, and whereas each November, Veterans Day is set aside as a time to honor those men and women who have so ably served in the armed forces of the United States, and whereas the contribution and sacrifices of the men and women who serve and are serving in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and way of life enjoyed by the people of the United States, and whereas while we can never hope to fully repay these courageous men and women for their distinguished service to our nation, we can and must show our appreciation for their sacrifice. And whereas Veterans Day is observed on November the 11th, regardless of the day of the week on which it falls, in order to preserve the historical significance of the date and to focus attention on the important purpose of Veterans Day, a celebration to honor American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize the week of November 9th through 13th, 2015, as Veterans Awareness Week, and in witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 10th day of November, 2015. And we'll put that over all the court signature. I move its approval.
Second.
And with 4 seconds. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Tom, we appreciate you. I know you've only been here for a short period of time, but you've done a tremendous job, and we're very excited about you and the work that you're doing in our Veterans Hall. So thank you very much. Let's give it.
Thank you very much, Judge. Thank you.
Be nice to the Army, guys.
Today's our day, Commissioner. As a Marine, a father, somebody that looks to educate our youth about what today means, what tomorrow means, Veterans Day, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Air Force, whether you served abroad, served stateside, thank you. Thank you. That's all that matters, just thank you. This is a volunteer service. We all volunteered for this. This is something that we hold deep in our hearts as Americans, as folks that came to our country for a better life, that became Americans that have joined our armed forces. And again, I say thank you. Today, I want to thank the leaders of Tarrant County. It is great to know that we live in such a great community to where we know that veterans are accepted and never left behind. And thank you very much for this. I appreciate it.
Now comes one of the favorite times of the month, and that's the recognition of our employees who are celebrating anniversaries with the county. We will recognize you in groups of 5, 10, 15, and so forth. So as I call your name, please rise and continue to stand until we finish that particular group, and then we'll move forward to the next group. So beginning with our 5-year employees, Justin Barnes, Facility Management. Troy Cooksey, Sheriff's Office. Joseph Davila, Sheriff's Office. Marco De La Cruz, Sheriff's Office. I thought I was going to have to give my speech about if it sounds like your name, stand up. Elizabeth D. Paulo, Elections Office. Now, I know I got that one wrong.
Yep. Di Paolo.
Di Paolo? Yeah, y'all doing good. I'll let y'all do this one of these days. Estella Esquivel, Public Health. There she is. Michael Gardetto, Sheriff's Office. Hugo Hernandez Jr., Sheriff's Office. Geraldine Hopkins, Sheriff's Office. Usually it's the last names. Malay Kelly, Information Technology. That doesn't look like Malay. Judge Carr, you just standing up there for the fun of standing up there? Just...
No, I couldn't afford the retirement cut. Thank you.
Glenda Mays, Sheriff's Office. Teresa Parrish, Sheriff's Office. Eric Rodriguez, Sheriff's Office. Johnny Shoemate, Sheriff's Office. Amber Smith, Sheriff's Office. Larry Tell, Sheriff's Office. This must have been a busy time for the Sheriff's Office. Lance Terry, Sheriff's Office. Donita Tilley, Facilities Management. Deanna Vanderveer, Precinct 1 Operations. Rashawn Walker, District Clerk's Office. Ketra Williams, Public Health. These are our 5-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Now for our 10-year employees, Joe Berry, Juvenile Services. There's Joe. Ronald Chapman, Sheriff's Office. Gina Navarro, Juvenile Services. Raise that hand a little bit higher there, just, you got good surroundings there. They're going to take care of you. Casey Crawl, Juvenile Services. Now, did I forget Tracy? You were Tracy Jones. That's right. Okay. Anita Curran, PH, Public Health Operations.
Dr. Curran.
Doctor.
Well, where was the doctor on this thing when I needed it? Carol Lawson, Medical Examiner's Office. Carol. Brandy Lawrence, Sheriff's Office. Heather McGregor, JP number 2. Ann Mackey, Transportation. Catherine McComber, Juvenile Services. Brenda Nash, Sheriff's Office. Billy Robinson, Constable Office number 6. Carlanda Tyson, Sheriff's Office. These are our 10-year employees. Now for our 15-year employees, Jesse Belandron, Precinct 1 Operations. Lena Brazil, Human Resources. Renee Castronino, Public Health. Blanca Della Torre, Public Health. Ramon Garcia, Sheriff's Office. Wesley Gray, Juvenile Services. Kenneth Hoffman, Sheriff's Office. Bridget Hughes, Public Health. Melvie Hudson, Sheriff's Office. James Kegley, Sheriff's Office. John Pilkington, Sheriff's Office.
Captain.
Jose Renz, Juvenile Services. David Separ, Juvenile Services. Looks like you got a companion with you there, a little friend. Who we have there? Go ahead and stand up there. We're sure glad you were able to make it out today. We're kind of glad that he was able to make it out too. Trouble. Now, let me see. Where are you from? Juvenile Services? You're the one that brought it up. You can give him a hard time about that later on. We're sure glad you made it out here today. Deanne Thomas, Juvenile Services. Laura Watchter. I know I messed that one up. Well, is she here? Nope. Sorry. I could have just said Laura and I've been all right. Sherry Williams, Public Health. There's Sherry. These are our 15-year employees. Give them a hand. Now for our 20-year employees. Daryl Gamboa, Information Technology. Tabitha Stevenson, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Charles Wiesman, Sheriff's Office. And Tracy Wilson, the Medical Examiner's Office. These are our 20-year employees. Now for our 25 plus, I've had a chance to talk with them and to again congratulate them on their years of service. The first is Judge Molly Jones with County Criminal Court number 6. I talked with her and she said she was going to be in trial today and would not be able to make it, but please, if you see Molly, please congratulate her on her 25 years of service. you wouldn't even want to see it. It's 25, isn't it? It is 25. Thank y'all for your help and assistance in this deal. Don't be reading the paper. I talk with these folks. They're all, if you go by this today, we got a problem. But this next person, Mary Jo Gutierrez, with CSCD, is 25 years. Where's she at? Our sons grew up together. So I've known that family for a long time. In fact, 30 years. So she started out with CSCD, and she's worked in the sex offender unit. She's put together a chaperone program, just basically working the regular caseload, and she's now in Judge Solvant's court as the senior court officer there. When I ask her about memorable moments, and I think it really speaks kind of to the family that we are, it was how the department helped and worked with her when her parents were sick. When I asked her what she liked most, she said it was, again, the people that she'd had a chance to work with over these years, and she said she had a great deal of respect for Judge Solvant and his job and what he did to help her. She says that they've got the lowest revocation rate of all the courts, that she's had just a fantastic 25 years with the county, and that when, again, we were talking about the last 5 years, both of our sons have come a long way in the last 5 years, and so we were kind of reminiscing on that and just thinking back on some of the old times. Mary Jo, we appreciate very, very much the years of service you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Kendall Novak with District Attorney's Office. 30 years of service. Don't be reading the paper. Don't be reading the paper. Started out with Lon Evans, and I was in the patrol area for a while, narcotics, then moved to the check department and is now in special crimes area. Memorable moments, the helicopter crash, which I think for those of us that were here, certainly we remember that. And he said that also kind of over the years watching people retire and seeing that. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, over the years I've had some great bosses in the various sheriffs and the DAs. He said it's been a great place to work, and he said I would recommend this place to anyone. He said I've loved every minute of it. Never looked for retirement. Never looked at those retirement, for about the first 15 years, and now he's beginning to see the kids of folks that he's worked with coming to work here. So, I think it is one of those things. We sometimes wonder whether our kids notice anything as they're growing up, and I think what we find more times than not is they do look and they do watch us and they do see where we go, and many, many times, they end up there also. Had a son that's is graduated from high school, is now at University of Texas in Dallas, and I believe is getting close to graduation, maybe going to master's after that. And then he said, he said, I've got at least another 5 years because I got a daughter starting out in tech in the fall. So we appreciate, Kendall, very much your 30 years of service with Tarrant County. I wish that there was a whole lot more than just thanks that we could say to you, because you are what makes Tarrant County what it is, such a great place, not only for the citizens who come and have to interact with us, not only even for some of the prisoners who are interacting with our jailers, because for time and time again, I will have someone say to me that even when I was at my rock bottom, they treated me with respect. All of this, and at the same time, your focus on really trying to make things better and being willing to try things that will make things better, all of those things make this such a great place to work and to live and to raise our families. And I want to thank you for your part in doing that. 680 years of service recommended or represented here today. So thank y'all. We've got refreshments back in 504C. Thank you for your service.
Can you remember when you were brand new? Yes. Hadn't been that long ago. Did you get everything?
No, just two.
Headed for the
Since he's already had his cookies, he doesn't have to go to lunch with them.
If I could get a motion to receive and file the employee recognition.
So moved.
second.
A motion is second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. You have before you the consent agenda.
Wasn't there one item removed from that?
No, sir, there was just one correction.
Oh, correction, okay, I'll move approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion is second. Please,
Commissioner Johnson, you're correct. I am incorrect on that. Let me tell you, we did pull one of those. I thought it was an action item.
Yeah, it was
D4.
8D4,
That's correct. I apologize.
so my motion included that removal.
okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
That's his computer.
Pardon?
That was
Your computer keeps better records.
Well, I had it correct. If he announced it correct.
Your Honor, I'm ready to move on.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Been a tough day for you so far.
It has, and it's early. Members of the Court, we have two additional items to bring to the Court. The first one, under the Administrative section, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court repeal the prohibition against outside burning in the unincorporated areas of Tarrant County.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion is second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the Court, on item number 2, Ms. McMillan is going to address the Court on that issue.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning, Lisa. Morning.
I have before you a request for a letter of concurrence to the Foreign Trade Zone Board, allowing for a foreign trade zone designation for the XL Lego facility to be located on Mark Fort Parkway and Interstate 820 in Fort Worth. As a little background, XL is a subsidiary of DHL and is a global leader in transportation, shipping, and logistics, and they currently distribute products for the Lego Group throughout North America from 2 facilities in the Alliance area, one in Roanoke and the other in Hazlet. But the growth of Lego's distribution has made it necessary for XL to build a larger facility to consolidate the operations from both of those locations. And they have identified a site on this intersection of 820 and Mark Fort Parkway to build a new 1.4 million square foot Lego distribution facility with an investment of estimated over $50 million. The facility will employ 250 employees and is expected to grow in employment each year. The site will also allow for location potentially of a second 600,000 square foot facility. And currently, all Lego inventory is manufactured in Mexico, brought over to this facility, and then shipped out of the state of Texas. So there's little or no inventory tax currently being received at the current 2 locations that are already in FTZ designated sites. Thus, there would be no loss of inventory revenue from the designation of this new site as a foreign trade zone. But the county will recognize added taxable value from the over $56 million in investment in real and personal property to this site. Basically, the foreign trade zone designation for this facility will provide for the continued exemption of the inventory value, but the main benefit to the company comes from the cost of savings on custom duties and the streamlining of the customs process for the Lego inventory that is imported from out of the country and distributed across North America. So we're asking today that you approve the letter of concurrence to the Foreign Trade Zone Board allowing for the FTZ designation.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Glenn.
To receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Good morning and thank you. We have 2 additional items. The second item, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for the tax office. Mr. Wright is requesting a waiver of 168 vacation hours for a motor vehicle specialist, who retired at the end of September with 400 vacation hours. We're estimating that net savings to the general fund will be a little bit more than $10,200.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our final item, we're asking the court to approve an out-of-class pay extension for JP3. This one should look familiar to you. The court approved out-of-class pay back in August of last year. Judge Casey's requesting continuing out-of-class pay through February of this year with an estimated cost to the general fund of a little bit more than $1,500, including fringe benefits.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vinnie.
Morning.
Good morning.
Are
This
you-
morning,
Are you going to be around for the pulled pork this week?
no, I'm a vegetarian. So I'm not going to be pulling any pork.
Well, and you weren't at the waffle. They were smart and kept you away from the waffle.
Yes,
Maybe they're
sir.
just figuring
Yes, sir.
out ways
They're
to
watching
keep
my
you
weight.
out.
Pancake breakfast. Right.
You don't have
See,
to eat the
temptation's
sausage.
all around, I
You don't
tell
have to
you.
eat the sausage.
All right, I'll try to support whatever I can.
Thank you so much.
All right. So this morning, we're requesting approval of a contract between Tarrant County and Midwestern State University for laboratory testing services. And with your approval, we stand to receive approximately $2,000 for the services that we provide.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Vinnie. Mr. Beecham. Oh, I can't believe he is not here today. He's probably fixing to come in with a suey outfit
Tell
on.
Mr. Beecham, as soon as court's over, that Mr. Fickus and I would like a word with him.
Yes, sir. I sure will. Thank you. We have two items for your consideration this morning. The first item is RFP number 2015-188. This is an RFP for cost of services and fee analysis for the Public Health Department. We're recommending the award to Sequoia Consulting Group in the amount of $24,300, and if approved, we're also seeking contract approval.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our second item is bid number 2015-210. This is for Tarrant County Resource Connection medium voltage switchgear replacement. We're recommending this award to Alltech Electric, amount of $335,850. Also, if this is approved, we're recommending contract approval, acceptance of the performance and payment bonds.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Did Arkansas not play this past week?
They played.
Huh?
They actually won. Jack just kind of missed out on that opportunity, but I'd keep seated right where you are.
Did LSU play?
Yeah, they lost. It was not a good week for purple. Are there any appointments? There being none, then you have before you approval of the claims, including the addendum.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have several items to bring to you this morning. The first, item A, is a briefing on the American Airlines headquarters tax abatement. Ms. McMillan is here to address the court.
Well, things got up. Okay. Judge Commissioners, American Airlines is proposing the redevelopment of the former Saver building site off American Boulevard for the construction of a new headquarters campus. The plans call for the demolition of the existing building on the site and the construction of new facilities on the DFW airport-owned location. American Airlines will be consolidating operations from out-of-state locations and its current Fort Worth headquarters in Centerport to this location. Investment is planned at more than $350 million in combined real and personal property improvements to be completed at the end of 2019. I'm going to have John Terrell from the DFW Airport Board to come forward and give a little bit more background on the project, and then I'll come back and give you some information about the requested tax abatement terms.
Good morning.
Good morning.
John. Are you certified to operate that?
I think so. It was an up and down arrow. Well, good morning, Judge Whitley, Commissioners. It's always a pleasure, and today even more so, just to talk to you and give you a little bit of background about some of what has been happening with the American Airlines headquarters. Just to give you a little bit of a timeline, it was back in September of 14 when American Airlines put out an RFI, and at that time it was an undisclosed entity looking for a corporate headquarters, so we didn't know who we were working with at that point. We were very pleased to find out that it was American, and they had actually reduced now the site in March to two sites. One was the Irving site, with his home of the former Cowboys stadium, and the site at the airport. And in March, AA decided that their preferred site was there at DFW Airport. We entered into a letter of intent in September of this year, and then they confirmed on their board in October 21st that they were going to move forward with the AA headquarters on the airport. We then, as an airport board, recommended to our owner cities on October 29th that we move forward and enter into a long-term lease agreement with American Airlines, and then we had a briefing to Fort Worth City Council on November 3rd. We had a briefing yesterday, as a matter of fact, to the Transportation Committee in Dallas, and that wasn't a recommending body. They heard it, and it will move forward to Dallas City Council, which on your next step shows up as a to-be-determined date, but we just found out this morning that Dallas City Council is going to take it up on the 18th. So it's going to be on their agenda for the 18th. Tonight we go to Fort Worth for their official vote, and then we will have, I believe, the vote on Tarrant County for the 17th. Just very quickly, as you note that this is at the southwest corner of Highway 360 and 183. It is adjacent to and part of the property that American Airlines has occupied for a number of years, and includes their new $80 million ops center, as well as the museum, their training facilities, etc. And if you see towards the south end, just on the north side of Trinity Boulevard, is the Sabre facilities on the south side of this particular lease. It's a 287-acre on the total site, which is all that area shaded in red. The area shaded in yellow is where their current headquarters is located, so as you can see, they'd only be moving a few blocks away. And this will consolidate a lot of their uses in terms of the office, aviation-related facilities for the long term. Just to give you a little bit of background of history and part of why this deal makes so much sense. In 1972, the airport entered into a special facilities agreement with American Airlines to construct many facilities and purchase some land. And in 1978, the airport actually floated a $147 million bond to expand some of the facilities that were going to be constructed, as well as buy certain tracts of land to make that happen. A portion of those tracts were actually owned by the city of Fort Worth, and some were actually owned by American Airlines and some third parties. Of the $147 million, $19 million was designated for the purchase of this land. AA had the responsibility and the obligation to pay all the debt service on that $19 million, and in fact paid to purchase that land. Had they gone through the full term of the payment, it would have been paid off in 2012, but back in 1995, American Airlines decided to pay off those bonds early, and they defeased the bonds at that time. So they, in fact, paid all the money to purchase that over time. That's also why we have only been charging a $15,000 rent per year up until 2043, is because American Airlines paid those amounts. They built their original corporate headquarters at that location, so this is kind of a welcome back home to the same site. And as you know, Sabre actually was taken out of American Airlines, and then they continued to occupy that building, but they vacated that building, and it was subleased leased to EDS and HP for a number of years. They vacated those buildings in 2009, and they have been vacant since 2009. Sabre offered, in fact, the building to DFW Airport, but we declined at that point because of the condition of the building and the functional obsolescence. So the lease terms, running through those very quickly, first and foremost, in order to enter into this lease, American is going to be obligated to construct the new corporate headquarters at this location. And if you see the location is the area shaded in yellow on your print. All of this area is under an existing lease that runs through 2043. So the new term would extend from 2043 to 2114, allowing for a new 99-year lease. It will require the demolition of the Sabre building. It is not usable in its current condition for the purposes of AA, so they will construct the new corporate headquarters in the current location of the Sabre building. Also, American Airlines will completely release and indemnify not only the airport but the owner cities against all liability, including environmental liabilities on that site. They will have the ability to terminate. As you notice on the print, it's divided into 4 tracks. American Airlines at any point into the future can terminate as to any one or all of those tracks. At the point that they would choose to terminate, they have to give us 6 months' notice. And then the airport, at its sole discretion, has the ability and right to either accept the existing improvements as is, and then we would retain those and be able to lease them to third parties, or ask if the condition of those buildings are such that they are not marketable, then we can ask and demand that AA remove those at AA's cost and bring it back to a greenfield site. They are prepaying the entire rent today for $14 million. Because we are going to need to remove the building and buy Sabre out of their existing lease that runs through 2043, They will be receiving a credit on the $14 million of $2 million for demolition and $2 million to buy out Sabre, giving a net to the airport of $10 million. That property was appraised, and just very, very quickly, how that was determined is we took the future, or the net present value of the future income stream from 2043 to 2114. We escalated and appreciated the land at a 3% rate from now till 2043, and then when 2043 we would typically start to receive market rents. We escalated those market rents at 3% compounded annually through the 2143 to come up with a number that we then discounted back to today. That was the $14 million. In terms of MWBE and DBE participation, they have agreed to follow the Fort Worth MWBE program, and so they will be working that out. We typically, as an airport, have federal regulations that require what's called ACDBE rules and regulations that require MWBE for any entity that is selling merchandise on a retail side to the community. That is not the case in this situation, so ADBE rules and regulations will not apply. Additionally, as I mentioned, the Fort Worth is going to be voting on that this evening. And they will be offering, as you're very aware, I'm certain, an incentive package that had been worked on between the city and the county to locate at this location. I think all of you, AA has been located in Tarrant County for many years. They have a huge amount of employment, over 100,000 employees company-wide. They have 1,200 employees that live in the city of Fort Worth and 15,000 employees in Tarrant County. They support numerous different organizations throughout Tarrant County and within the city of Fort Worth. And that is pretty much my briefing for today. If you have any questions or want me to go back and highlight anything, I'd be happy to do so.
Any questions?
I would also say that Mr. Chuck Allen, who is the Managing Director of Government Affairs, is here for American Airlines, if you have any questions of him.
Just a comment.
Yes, sir.
I would like to congratulate American Airlines on reconsolidating your headquarters activities into Tarrant County Precinct 1.
When do we redistrict again?
I was going to say. You don't get a vote.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. As Mr. Terrell has laid out the project, I wanted to now go over the recommended tax abatement program that staff has developed. The City of Fort Worth is, as Mr. Terrell said, considering a 15-year tax abatement and economic development program agreement at their council meeting tonight, and that would provide up to between 75% to 90% abatement on real and personal property value, and that is dependent on the investment levels as they go up. It will go up higher. Staff is proposing a county and hospital district tax abatement that would max at a percentage of 70% for a period of only 10 years. And that would start with a base abatement of 60% and provide up to a 10% additional abatement for employment and performance-based criteria. In your packets, there's a detail of this term sheet that outlines all of the parameters of the terms. Basically, to receive the base abatement, American will be required to invest at least $200 million in the real property improvements, spend a minimum of $50 million in hard construction costs with Tarrant County contractors, and spend a minimum of $50 million in hard construction costs with DBE contractors. They will also have to maintain employment of 4,279 full-time jobs at the site. And they can add abatement by incrementally adding to that job level or providing more investment in terms of contractor spending with Tarrant County and DBE contractors. So again, the total cumulative package would be a max of 70% abatement every year for 10 years. At that amount, because this is a leasehold possessory interest, the actual taxable value is usually less. So the full value of abatement wouldn't necessarily be based on a $300 million investment. And because of that, we have estimated that at a maximum abatement of 70%, the value of the tax abatement would be approximately $111,000 a year from the county and about $96,000 a year from the hospital district. So that would be a 10-year combined total of just over $2 million for both the county and hospital district. Of course, over the same period, the county and hospital district will receive new tax revenues from that unabated portion, estimated to be just over $1 million over the 10-year period. So we will be working with American to finalize the abatement agreements, and next week we plan to bring back a resolution of intent to participate. This will be an intent to participate at the terms that we have provided in your packet today, and then we will come forward in future weeks with the actual tax abatement agreement that will also be for your approval. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you, American.
Thank you for being here.
Members of the court, if we can go to item B. This is a web portal and social media project update. Mr. Aberforth is here to address the court, and we will have a presentation as relates to this item.
Morning, George. Board members. We are in 2013. The court approved a strategic roadmap for Tarrant County's next generation web presence. And we have since been working through, and we have broken through a major milestone with that engagement, and here this morning to give you an update. The objective of that initiative was to implement a best-of-class web content management solution for Tarrant County, to pull together, again, new websites for Tarrant County with very specific branding and, very important, citizen-centric design to serve our citizens. And this was then the old website, what you see here. And that website, the content management solution we have back at the time was 2001. What you see here was last updated in 2007 when the provider of that solution decided to go a different direction and left us kind of dangling in the cold. We have since managed to keep it up and operational, served the county very well. And came time to move on. The screen that goes through right now is what you last saw as the Tarrant County main page. And this is now the new Adobe Web Content Management Solution. This is our present website. As I said, there was some direction for very specific branding. For Tarrant County's website to be recognizable for all members of Tarrant County agencies, departments, organizations that somehow are part of the larger Tarrant County family. And what you see here are very specific elements of our website. They are the latest news and some calendar, and then the Tarrant County departments, and then some quick links. And then there's also a photo band. That photo band is updated seasonally to make sure that our website remains fresh. And what we have today is I wanted to give you just a quick rundown here of some timelines since it's been some time. It was 2 years ago. So the date that you don't see here is April of 2013, because that's when this strategic roadmap, this document here, was actually approved by the IT steering committee and brought before the court here for approval. And then there were some pre-planning activities, mostly purchasing, finding a content solution provider, all through to November 2013 when we retained Adobe, and with the help of the purchasing agent, we were able to get procurement for Adobe Experience Manager, so they call it. March 2014, that project effectively kicked off for all of for the county. And then October 2014, we actually released the first set of those websites. We decided to divide it up into several releases. There were 5 of them, just given the sheer size of the county, because this is one of those projects that touched pretty much every fabric of Tarrant County business. And that first release took place, October 2014, and in December, there is 2 set of departments also went live. A notable date is January of 2015. A new criminal district attorney took office, Judge Wilson, and made the decision to bring back the criminal district attorney website that used to be off somewhere else back into the family. And so we created a sub-project within that, thank you, Judge Wilson, and built a new website for the criminal district attorney. And then released 3 set of departments occurred in February, and then June, 2015, there was the eGov subcommittee recommended, and with the adoption of IT steering committee, an open books website for Tarrant County to leverage as a phase 1 the various resources, data, metrics that we had available in our new initiative on government transparency. So we created a sub-project. That's why you have there as release 3.1. That open books website is live today. And then July 2015, they released 4 departments. And October this year, specifically October 28th, we turn on the switch for the last set of departments, the last set of websites for Tarrant County. And so as the dust settled on this phase of that project, the migration of the websites, I'm here to announce that there's a total of 101 websites that were built, consisting of 3,337 pages that were done, and that took us about a couple of years. I want to appreciate Mark Fleck, who was a singular individual that read every one of these websites, pages, to ensure that they were good for publication. And that is would be where we are today. Some just quick highlights here. May 5, again, 2014, the Project Steering Committee approved the style and branding. This was something that was highly emphasized, inputs from just about every department and agency and elected officials in Tarrant County. And we have that. And then we have, again, October 30, 2014, we launched the Release 1, which I mentioned already. So we'll kick that out. And then January 1, 2015, the Criminal District Attorney's website, have it right there, nice photo as well. And, and then January 1, 2015, we've talked about that. And then February 10, 2015, IT Steering Committee approved Open Government website. And what you will see with, again, Open Government website and the whole genius behind the styling and branding of Tarrant County website is that when you look at the key elements of that site, you can tell right away that, yes, this is a Tarrant County affiliated website, and those are the elements of that particular website, the open books, and which, again, we did as a sub-project. And October 28th, migration of the 101 websites that I talked about. But, you know, building websites is one thing. What do we do with websites? What do we do with them? Yes, we have some really aesthetically pleasing websites from the traffic that we're seeing coming on. We believe that we succeeded to build websites that members of the public like to take a look at, but most importantly that is serving the residents and citizens of Tarrant County. So where do we go from here? What's next? Building those websites is one thing. Now truly leveraging the power of this new tool to be able to focus on some evidence-based decision-making is one of the things that we call the icing on the cake here. and it is the web analytics. The web analytics is the piece that fielded a lot of questions from department heads, from elected officials. How can I, who visits my website? What are they looking for? What kinds of information? Where does this traffic go? What zip codes are people coming from to my website? Is there something I can glean from this that can help me in making better policy or making better investments of the dollars that we have? In this phase of the presentation, in the next 5-10 minutes, Nina is right around the corner here. She is going to give you a quick live demo of the capability. And these are just some reports of some of the types of things. The goal this morning is not an all-inclusive demo for you, but it's just to give you a gist of what you can get as capabilities, and then to start the thought process, and then subsequently you can contact or we reach out to you to see what can be customizable and very specific for your own use. Nina?
Good morning.
Good morning, Nina.
The first thing that shows up when you open up your analytics suite is your dashboard. Your dashboard can be customized to show reports that are of interest to you, and your dashboard can be printed out or emailed, as can individual reports. This dashboard has been customized to show all of the data that we've collected so far, and it's showing only external traffic. So the first report I'm going to show you is the key metrics report. The key metrics report shows trends over time. We're showing 3 metrics: page views, visits, and unique visitors. Page views are incremented every time someone visits a page. Visits last the entire time someone is on the website and can consist of many page views. And unique visitors are 1 person for that day. They could come several times that day, but it only will show them once for that day. You can see here is the 8th of October. This is the day we went live. You can see our traffic on the weekends goes a little lower. This spike right here is the election. Okay, here's our other weekend, and then today we haven't had much traffic yet today. The next report I'm going to show you is the departments report. And the departments report shows you the top visited departments. And you can see here we have the tax assessor collector, the county clerk, elections, the Tarrant County homepage, and the sheriff department. Each of these reports can be broken down in several ways. I'm only going to show you 2 ways today in the interest of time. I'm going to break this down by pages. What we're going to see is the most popular pages on the tax assessor site. And you can see here their homepage is obviously the most popular page, then their property tax page, the motor vehicle page, pay my county tax, and maps and locations. I can also break this down to see how people have come to their site. And you can see most people are coming to their site through the super menu, then through the I want to, and then through the homepage carousel. So this can help us in designing our navigation, because we see how people are getting places. The next report I'm going to show you is the zip code report. And this shows where visitors are coming from. It shows the top 5, but it can be configured to show more than that. It can show up to 30, but I'm only going to show up to 10 today. And there's the top 10 zip codes where people are coming from to see our website. The next report I'm going to show you is the devices report, and what this shows us is what devices people are using to access our website. Here you can see non-mobile devices is the green. This blue here is phones, mobile phones, and the pink is tablets. So you can see we have a large amount of people using mobile devices. What's interesting is if we break this down and we see our non-mobile users and we look at what departments they're looking at, we can see our non-mobile users are looking at the tax assessor, county clerk, the Tarrant County homepage, elections, and jury services. If I go back and then break down the mobile and look at what the mobile's looking at, mobile phone users are looking at the sheriff's department first, then the county clerk, then elections, tax assessor, and then the homepage. So we see our mobile users are interested in different things than our desktop users.
That's way down.
Hiring a commissioner.
The next report I'm going to show you has to do with the open book site. This menu, our open books menu, I'm going to show you which are the most popular links clicked on this menu right here. Here you can see, now we're looking at external users only. So the public is interested in public information requests, debt information, budget reports, payment register, and financial accounting reports. That's what they're clicking on that menu the most. If I change this, I can change and look only at our employees and see what our employees are interested in. And our employees are interested in the financial accounting reports, the commissioner's court agendas, the budget reports, the county buildings and utility reports, and the public information requests. So it's different.
Does the 3 just represent 3 instances, or, I mean,
That's 3 page views.
so they're not real excited about public information requests?
Not really. The next report I'm going to show you is the countries report. And this shows what countries people are visiting us from. And as you would guess, most people are coming from the United States, but you might be surprised how many other countries are visiting us. Commissioner Brooks, would you like to choose a country, and I'll show you what pages they're visiting.
Okay.
India, how about India?
Yeah, why not India?
India?
They were up at the top, and I think they had a high number.
The top pages visited by India are the tax assessor, county clerk, and RFPs.
Interesting. I'm not sure what it means.
600.
They're interested in bidding. And that's all the reports I have to show you today.
Why don't you pick a country like China? Let's see who, what Chinese are probably looking at here.
Okay, I can do that. China's interested in Commissioner 2 and Commissioner 1.
It's a tie. Probably has to do with the EB-5.
And with your permission, we'll just do. Yes, sir. And with your permission, let's look at Iran.
Iran?
Yes.
Public health RFPs and public health. Obesity prevention in children and power of color.
This is very interesting. How much longer is it going to last?
About another hour.
Those are the reports, Commissioner. As I mentioned, this was just a quick glance at the capability that is now available. We are moving through to train different department content authors. There's a lot of self-service involved here. IT be available to customize reports very specific to each organization. What is it that they are most interested in, and we will customize that report. There's a lot of questions one can ask. I see all of these, all these zip codes that are coming are there. Some people that are using a lot of it or not using a lot of it. So there's a lot that you can get out of this. And how does it factor into policy and decisions and where we can spend more of our investments versus some other areas? So those, we have the capabilities to provide you that type of information for more evidence-based type of decision-making. Behind every success, especially when it's a project, there's a project team. And I'll take the next 1 minute to, again, recognize the team. From IT, we have Jessica, that was the project manager. We have Nina, who gave us the demo. Nina was our technical development lead. If those folks are here, would you stand up real quick? Let's get recognized, the IT team. But I'll be missed if I did not mention as well that besides the IT team, this was a collaboration. This was not an IT department success. This was actually a Tarrant County collaborative success, the power of getting everybody together and every department. So we had Adobe partners, which was our industry partner, the provider of this solution. And then we had our department content authors. They were key to the success because they are the connecting tissue to each of your departments into this project. And then finally, we had a very active project steering committee. Are there any members of the project steering committee here? Put your hand up. Appreciate it. Thank you for your work. And that is the information we wanted to share with you at this point. If you have any questions.
We're not done yet, right? We do have other phases.
We do have other phases of the project. Good question, Commissioner. This was the phase 1 of the project, which was migrating all of our external-facing websites. And now we are going to be moving into the internal collaboration sites, which is the intranet websites. We expect and request the same type of collaboration that has led to this major milestone in the project. In the meantime, the training is going to be going on with, we're engaging training beginning, I believe, tomorrow for the analytics liaisons for the various departments, elected organizations, and so that you can begin to start to slice and dice this information and then begin to make use of it.
No more questions, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate your presentation.
You're welcome,
Thank you,
sir.
Chris. Good job, IT.
Members of the court, we can go to item C. This is a public health update. Mr. Tenasia is here to address the court at this time.
Promise I'll try to be very, very quick. First of all, I would like to acknowledge Mickey Morby, our biostatistician, who actually prepared these slides for an internal presentation. I found them to be very interesting, so I figured I'll bring them here to share with you all. So this is an update on West Nile virus and how the season went. So just a quick recap, we had a lot of unprecedented rainfall in the DFW metro area early in the spring, lots of flooding all over the place. We had a lot of overgrown foliage as a result, and then a long dry spell with hot weather. All are good for mosquito breeding and problematic for us in public health. So we had a lot of mosquitoes, and as you are aware, we do mosquito surveillance. We set up traps across the county, and in the early part of the season, those traps were very, very full. Just to give you an idea, on average, one trap would normally get about 75 mosquitoes. We were getting anywhere between 300 to 400 mosquitoes in a trap. So we were a little concerned that this might be a bad season for West Nile. Luckily, in the early part of the season when mosquito activity was high, we didn't have a lot of positive West Nile mosquito traps. So that was good news. And later it kind of picked up, but that's evident in the numbers. Last year, Tarrant County had about 16 human cases. This year we're at about 29, which sounds bad, but if you put it in perspective, we're a county approaching almost 2 million people. So overall, I think we did fairly okay. And all across the metro area, as you can see, Dallas County's at about 23, Denton at about 8, and Collin at about 4. So there's really no particular reason. It's where the chips may fall kind of a scenario. And then...
Hold
yes, sir.
on, back up. Why is the incidence of neuroinvasive disease so high in Tarrant County as compared to the other counties you surveyed?
Right. We're still kind of figuring that out, but in general, why neuroinvasive disease starts to appear more on the surveillance numbers is it tends to be more severe, where people seek medical attention, they end up in the hospital, hospitalized. So in general, during surveillance, we find more of neuroinvasive disease. West Nile fever, very occasionally people go to the doctor to get treatment, and they get treated symptomatically, don't get tested. So a lot of times that's not available information. So that's in general the reason. Now, why there's a difference between Tarrant County and Dallas and other neighboring counties is kind of a question to be sort of thought about at this point. We really don't have an exact reason why that may be the case.
Do we do more sampling maybe than they do?
I would just say that we actually have a better healthcare system in our community where the providers are reporting more to us, where they're looking to work with public health and are very aware of the signs and symptoms of West Nile and are doing testing more appropriately. So that would be one possible solution. Yes, sir. That's a plausible solution than why we're getting more information on neuroinvasive. But in general, it's because it's more severe. And people end up in the hospital is why it's more evident. Incident rate in human cases in Tarrant County, again, is about 1.5 per 100,000, which is higher in the area. But if you, again, look at it in a big picture perspective, nothing major to worry about. We're pretty coasting along in a reasonable season. And there's the age characteristics. A number of cases, like I said, we had 29. They ranged in age from young as 17-year-old to 85 years old. Mean age was about 57 years. About 69% were over 50 years of age. So again, people who are in the elderly age groups are more likely to get West Nile. And again, for a variety of reasons. They have underlying health conditions as the body ages, the immune system goes down. And also, a lot of folks are out and about, gardening and doing other outdoor activities. And that's part of the reason why they're more exposed to mosquitoes. Males were about 62%, so it's a good even split. Non-Hispanic white males, 90%. 86% of our cases were hospitalized, and 68% had underlying conditions or other health conditions that may be leading into why West Nile held a grip on them more than the others.
That non-Hispanic white percentage looks like a health disparity.
It may be, and it may be also the lifestyle. Again, non-Hispanic white males may be more likely to be in outdoor activities, gardening, hiking, being adventurous, and that's part of the reason why there may be more exposure. And also, it may be that our message is not getting to those folks. That might be one of the reasons. We're still figuring out. There's really no good answer on why that may be the case, but that's what the data is showing us right now. City by city, Arlington and Fort Worth each have 10 cases so far, and the rest of them are one case each in some other cities in the community. But it also tends to be where our population centers are and a lot of activity of those disease-related cases. Most of our activity was in August and September timeframe, so we're sort of approaching the end of the season. And here's a surveillance graph that was very impressive, that in mid part of August we had almost 30% of our mosquito pools were coming up positive with West Nile. And in the next graph you'll see that it actually correlates very well with the human case activity, like within a week or so. Now the blue line indicates where the earliest possible exposure could have been, but if you look at that bar graph, the peak was in mid-August, and within about a week people were sick in the hospital, so that's within the time frame where people would start to develop symptoms. Now, what is next? So we're approaching the end of the season, but we've had recent rains. So the conditions are still right for more mosquito activity, although we're starting to see a lot of declines in case activity and positive mosquito pools. But we do need to continue to take precautions, use DEET, long sleeves and pants, and remove standing water. And anecdotal evidence, Mr. Wilder stepped out of the room, but he did share with me that at his own property he's been taking care of emptying out the bird feeders and working with his landscaping guy to fill in any low-lying spots in the yard. And that tells me, that gives me good feeling that that people are listening. And that's why we take every opportunity to come back and remind folks. So, but that's what we all need to be doing. So that's a good show of leadership on his part, to listen to the message and take actions. Hey, credit due where it's due. So with that,
look, sympathize with him. You realize how long he had to listen to Wilder to get all that information?
No, he's a good friend, and he did good on this part. And with that, I want to take the opportunity to remind everybody that, yes, we're approaching the end of the season for West Nile, but also we're in the beginning phases of early flu. We've had an uptick in some activity, anecdotal evidence from other counties that flu had picked up, even though overall Texas has remained in our low activity phase. But at any given time, we've had a lot of cold, season coming around, and viruses tend to thrive in cold season. So flu may be rearing its ugly head anytime soon. So that's just a word of caution that if people have not taken their vaccine, they should take it now. With that, if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Benny.
Wilder will buy you lunch today, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Your Honor, there is not a need to go into closed session today.
No. We are adjourning. Remember, the Commissioner Brooks.
Pastor Albert E Chu.
With that, we're adjourned.
Wonderful.